I want to show you how to make this clay Beegu using clay and a few simple tools. What you need is a ball of clay, a little bit smaller than a tennis ball. You can use some clay tools if you need to. I've got 3, a sharp one, a blunt one, and you might want a paintbrush and some water. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tear off a small ball that's a little bit smaller than the main ball. Okay, I'm going to roll it in my hands. Okay, then I'm going to shape it using my thumb and my finger to make a shape. So this is going to be Beegu's head, this is going to be Beegu's body. Okay, I'm going to use this bit to make his ears and his arms and his legs. Okay, then I'm going to shape out his head so it's got a pointy snout. So there's his pointy snout. And I'm just going to use my thumb, as you can see, to smooth over all of the clay. So his body, this is going to be his head. Okay, so I'm just going to put that to one side. Now what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to rip it in half again. Okay, then I'm going to rip that in half, so I've got 2 the same size. Make that into a ball. Then I'm going to use my fingers to create a long sausage. Okay, so there's my first long sausage. It's about that, right? And when I put it against the head, it needs to be a little bit longer than the head. So I'm going to do one sausage, then I'm going to do the other sausage, about exactly the same size. Okay. So 2 sausages the same size. They're going to be his ears. I'm going to put them to one side for a minute. Okay. And then I'm going to rip this in half again and make a ball. Then make that in half. And again, this time I'm going to make a very short sausage like that, and another very short sausage like that. And these are going to be his legs. So first of all, what I'm going to do, probably just squidge that together, make it like a cylinder, squidge that together, make it into a cylinder. And then what I want to do is attach his legs onto the bottom. But if I just stick them on like that, what's going to happen is when it dries, it's going to fall off. So the best way to stick things on is you've got 2 ways. You can either take a little bit of water on your finger and rub it into one end, and then on where you want to stick it, put it there, and then give it a bit of a squiggle while it's on, and that acts like some glue. Okay, then I'll do the same again. Now what I can do, instead of using my finger, I can use a little brush to brush on some water, and what you'll see is the water makes it into like a slippery mud. It's called a slip. Okay, a clay slip. And then you do this, and then you just make it a little bit muddy, and then you stick that onto the mud like that. All right, and that will, when it dries, will be quite strong. It's almost like a glue. What I'm going to do is, what you can do as well is you can use a clay tool to come up and help join the legs to the body. Okay, so I can just use a clay tool like that and move some of the clay onto the body so it sticks. The other thing I can do is use some water to go around the edge of the legs to make it really, really strong, like so. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to place my Beegu onto the ground. I'm going to push him down so that he can stand up. Okay, and that's what he'll look like. So my Beegu, that's his legs. Now I can use my fingers as well to smoothen all this out. My fingers are quite big, so I'm using my little finger to get in all the little spaces. So I'm going to move that, and you can start to see that actually all of that join almost looks like it's just one big piece of clay. And so that's my Beegu so far. I'm going to take the other half and again in half, and this time I'm just going to make another sausage shape and then check to see how long it is, and I'm just going to put that onto the side. Now I've got a little bit too much, I want it a bit thinner than that, so I'm going to take a little bit off each of these pieces, and I'm going to just, it might be easier actually, let me try this way, to make a long sausage, and when I think it's thick enough for his arms, I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to cut his arms off. So I'm going to, here's one, then use that to cut the next one. That's his second arm, and then this bit I don't need anymore. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this arm on using that technique again. Okay, I'm going to use some water. I'm going to put the water where I want it, get it all nice and gooey mud. Then on the arm as well, I'm going to just do the same, make it all nice gooey mud, and then I'm going to stick that on where I want it. Okay, then I'm going to use some of that water again to just go in all that gaps like that. Okay, I'm not going to give him any hands because in the picture of Beegu it doesn't look like he's got hands, and they're not quite defined. So, and then I'm going to smoothen that out where his arm joins his body. Okay, so that's that one. Then I'm going to take the other, and again I can use my finger to add the water on and keep going until it becomes sticky. Okay, look, so it's very sticky, it sticks to my fingers. Then take some more water on where I want my arm, make it sticky. Then I can just glue my arm on to where I want it, so just there, and again merge the arm in, then take my brush with some water and just work into where the arm meets the body. Okay, just round off that hand a little bit. And so now we've got a Beegu with two arms. Okay, so there's my Beegu's body. He's got his arms on, he's got his legs on, and he stands up. Okay, it could be a girl, by the way, but I just call him a he. Now I'm gonna, there we go. Now the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna smooth out some of his body so that when it dries it's nice and smooth, and making sure his snout is nice and pointy. Some water, and I can just on my fingertip make it nice and smooth. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to add his ears. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place him upright. Now I could have him sitting down if I wanted to, but I'm going to place him upright, and I'm going to take the first ear and get some water, and on the back of his head going to make it nice and sticky. I'll take some water up to the end of this ear, and then I'm going to flatten that onto the back of Beegu's head like that. So it merges in. Then I'm going to take the second piece, it might be worth flattening that before you start. So look, if you look, I've flattened this end, and then once it's flat I'm going to put a bit more glue so it sticks to his head a little bit better, and then you see his ears come all the way down off the top of his head to the ground. Okay, now what I'm also going to make sure I do, okay, now you probably want to do this without picking him up. Okay, do this before you start. I'm going to put some water on the back of his body and make sure his ears stick to the back of his body. Okay, and then once he's standing up, I'm going to push these ears because they do touch the ground, and then I'm going to cut off the bit I don't need, like so. Then round those off to make them nice. And so now my Beegu is almost finished. I'm just going to use some water just to smoothen out where the ears touch. Okay, now I'm going to lift him up and turn him around. around so I can see his front. And now I'm just going to use my finger to smoothen him all out. It's quite important you smooth out where the ears touch his head. Now, you've got a choice with the eyes. I'm going to use googly eyes and glue them on later. Okay, I'm just going to push his snout down a bit. Or you could just use to the end of the paintbrush or something, and you could just put in the eyes like that. Okay, I'm going to leave those in there because that's where I'm going to glue my eyes onto. So I'm just going to make a shape where my eyes are going to go in, smooth it all out, and then I know where to glue my eyes onto when I've finished. So just make it nice and smooth. Okay, and there's my Beegu. So this is Beegu. He's got his ears, he's got his arms, he's got his legs. What you want to do is try to get it as smooth as possible in places. Okay. And I think I'm quite happy with him. So there's Beegu. Now I need to let him dry for about a few days, and then I can paint him and seal him, and then he can sit on my shelf at home watching the world go by. So thanks for watching, guys. That's how you make a clay Beegu.